Paradise. You are watching the 5-Minute Roundup, weekly look at tips, trends, and news for the SMB channel. I'm Rich Freeman, ChannelPro's executive editor. With me, as always, but in person this time, is my co-host Erick Simpson, CIO and Senior Vice President of SPC International, business improvement and training service for MSPs and solution providers. How you doing today, Erick?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, Rich. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're working hard for you, folks. So normally we're kind of winging our way around the country. We're in different places, but as it happens this week, I am here in Huntington Beach, California, attending Eaton's annual partner conference, which took place right here at this hotel the last couple of days. And Erick lives and works right up the road, which is a tough life, Erick.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, Rich.
Well, let's dive right into the news then. So I wanted to talk a little bit about an announcement that SonicWall made yesterday. And basically, they were sort of pulling the curtain off of security technology they've been using behind the scenes quietly for the last couple of months now. They call it real-time deep memory inspection. And basically, it's a new kind of technology they've been working on for the last years in their laboratory unit that allows them to defeat some of the newer techniques that hackers are using these days to elude sandboxing technologies. There are malware variants out there now that are smart enough to know when they're being detonated inside a sandbox. They won't run. There are others that will expose the weaponry inside the code for only tiny, tiny little intervals of time, so brief that standard security technologies can't pick it up. So for the past few months, SonicWall has been using this new technology they developed internally, and they say they've already detected hundreds of malware variants that have been out there doing their thing completely undetected by other security technologies. So sort of an interesting step in the arms race that is going to continue on a ongoing basis in the security world going forward. You're going to see new technologies come along, and then you're going to see the hackers come up with new ways to defeat them.
Yeah, it's a never-ending battle to stay ahead of the bad guys, and I'm sure that competitive organizations are going to be hot on the heels now, trying to compete with this new technology as well.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how easy or hard that is too. It's patent pending technology. I submitted some questions to SonicWall earlier in the week to learn a little bit more about it, and got some fairly circumspect kind of answers, as you would imagine. So
yep.
It's hard to know, and I'm sure hard for their competitors to know exactly how this thing works. But very interesting, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Erick, that brings us to our business tip of the week. What do you got for us?
Today's business tip of the week is I want to talk about exit strategy and the importance of developing an exit strategy for your business. Last week we talked about succession strategy and giving your staff the ability to understand what it takes for them to grow within the organization, for you to delegate and build new leaders. Now, your exit strategy is an important piece of your overall business building strategy. A CEO's job is to identify and deliver a legacy. And I work with a lot of partners that sometimes they have to exit their organizations much earlier than they had thought they would need to. And this can be personal reasons, family illness, or other things that cause an abrupt shift in their ability to continue running the organization. And if you're not prepared for that exit, then your valuation is really going to suffer. So just think about your exit strategy. Think about running the business as if you were going to sell it, increasing efficiencies, the bottom line profitability, EBITDA, and of course, processes and procedures, standardizing, and all of these things that can help you be as profitable as you can be, no matter what your strategy is, whether you're going to, whether you wish to be acquired, whether you want to turn it over to, your family, whether you want to grow through acquisition. It's always best to maintain a highly efficient and profitable operation from the get-go.
So much of success in managed services specifically, but really business generally, is about thinking ahead. And this is the absolute classic example of that. Is when you create the business, you already really need to be thinking about how you're going to get out of it at some point.
Yep. So it's and that's the evolution of a business owner and a CEO. Ultimately, what am I leaving behind? You don't want to saddle someone with an underperforming business, and you always want to make sure that you're as profitable as possible no matter what. So it just makes sense to run the business as efficiently and profitably as possible. That way you have options no matter what happens, whether you want to sell in 10 years, 20 years, or in case the unforeseen might happen, causing you to make a decision that you hadn't planned for.
Well, very good. We've got time for one more item here before we go, and that's a report that surfaced this morning that Apple is possibly in discussions with Goldman Sachs right now about setting up a financing program that will allow their customers to arrange financing if they're going to go out and purchase one of those new iPhone X's. And Eric, I'm sort of thinking to myself, if you need help from an investment banker to buy that smartphone you've had your eye on, it might be a little too expensive.
Yeah, I might need to rope my attorney in just to make sure that it's all on the up and up, because you never know.
And you can always issue bonds or something like that, and they'll get you right into the iPhone X right away.
Funny story.
Well, that's our show for this week. If you want to keep up on the latest episodes, 5-Minute Roundup, get a live out on the calendar, be sure to subscribe to the ChannelPro Network YouTube channel. For more news from ChannelPro, go to channelpronetwork.com. To learn more about SPC International, visit consulting.spc-intl.com. That's consulting.spc-intl.com. Until next week, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your week. We, as you can see, are enjoying the rest of your week already.